Hey everyone, Dr. Darria today, and I am really excited about my guest today. I have with me Dr. Jeff Dover, who I have known, I think, since I was in medical school. He's one of the top dermatologists. He's based out of Boston, and he is here to tell us all of the secrets. So Jeff, just really quickly, many of you have probably heard of him. He's an associate clinical professor of dermatology at Yale University School of Medicine. And since that's not enough, he's also an associate professor of dermatology at Brown Medical School. He's also the director of Skincare Physicians, which is in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. He's authored over 500 publications, edited 50 textbooks, and some books that you may know is that he's authored The Youth Equation. I mean, we need to hear more about that. And Skin Deep, an A to Z of skin disorders, treatment, and health. So Jeff, thank you so much for being here.
Well, Darria, thanks. It's a great honor and pleasure. Thank you.
I wanted to share you with my audience, but before we get into the secrets, which I know everybody's dying to hear, I don't think I've ever asked you how you got into dermatology in the first place. What was the pivotal moment for you?
Well, it turns out, like most young, easily influenced Americans, you meet someone who inspires you and they change your life. And at the time, you sometimes don't realize it, but sometimes it's very obvious, like being hit over the head. And it was a teacher in medical school. I remember my very first day of medical school, I met the dean and he said, "Oh, so nice to meet you. What do you think of doing when you finish?" Right away, first question. I said, "Well, I'll never be a dermatologist because I don't want to squeeze pimples. And I don't want to be a radiologist because I don't want to work in the dark." And I remember it like it was yesterday. And then in second year medical school, this charming, handsome, bon vivant French Canadian came into our class to teach dermatology. And I thought, I want to be like this guy. He was entertaining. He played the guitar. He sang. He did all these other things I found out later. And so then I thought, well, I'll spend some time with him in his clinic. And I went to the clinic and every patient was as beautiful as you. Everyone was charming. They were all healthy. And he made them all better. And they loved seeing him. And it was like cocktail party in his office. No one was really sick, but they all had problems, and he made them better, including this very beautiful woman who was losing her hair. And when he regrew her hair, you got this big hug and a kiss. I thought, I want to be like him. And so I pursued dermatology. It was either that or cardiology, saving lives or making people really happy. And I decided on dermatology, which I never regretted. And it's been a great experience, and it's a wonderful specialty.
And I think you bring up a great point there, because dermatology, sometimes may seem like it's skin deep, like you take care of you make people beautiful, but is from a medicine standpoint, it is no less complex than any of the other medical specialties. And it's understanding that root cause. And that's also how you help people with their dermatologic problems and goals.
Right. So what makes dermatology so popular now is the fact that Allure and Vogue feature dermatologists as celebrities suddenly because they make women and men look their best. But in fact, you can see into the soul of someone and into their medical soul by looking at their skin. So for the first half of my career, that's what I did at Harvard Medical School, was treat the sickest patients in Boston and try to find out, using my detective skills, what was wrong with them inside by looking at their skin. And I still do that part of the time, and it's incredibly rewarding. But at the same time, we can make people look their best, feel better about themselves. If you look better, you feel better, you perform better, men or women alike. It's not really about vanity. It's really about feelings of self-esteem. So every face has a beautiful part and every person has a beauty inside. And what we try to do is bring that out by some of the laser and technological developments we've made over the years.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Making them as beautiful on the outside as they are on the inside.
And I really believe it, and it's true.
And I know you do. And all to everyone listening, like I have seen Dr. Dover as a friend, he's a colleague, but I've gone to him as a patient. I remember you have the swag closet of all the goodies too. So I know that you truly feel about your patients. You take care of them like their family. So I think that's wonderful. I want to use that as a segue to because I want to know about your general philosophy when it comes to beauty and skincare. What is kind of the general philosophy of how you look at it? We've talked about it from the inside out, but what is the real philosophy?
Well, I have a couple of philosophies. The best one is what we've already discussed, which is every face has at least one beautiful feature. And what we want to do is highlight the beauty in a face to bring out the best of the person's inside, number one. Number two, you don't want any 12-hour period to go by wasted. So just think of today. what did you or what did viewers put on this morning to prevent aging and to reverse aging? And when they go to bed at night, what do they put on to reverse the process or slow the process? You don't want to waste any 12-hour period. And right now, if someone doesn't have sunscreen on or an anti-aging product on their skin, they're wasting the whole day and they're getting older looking while they're doing their regular activities, whether it's work or childcare or cooking or travel. So at nighttime, you want to make sure you've got anti-aging products on which work. So you want to make sure they work. They don't have to be expensive, but if you don't do it, it's not going to help.
I feel like I need to step away for a few minutes and go put some anti-aging on. Just everyone excuse us for a second. I love that. You're right. If you're every 12 hours, if you're not wearing it, you're not letting your skin do what it can. So,
no one talks about this. I'm not sure why it's so simple, but you would never, ever go to work without brushing your teeth. And I've said to patients for years, if you were on your way to my office and you realize you forgot to brush your teeth, what would you do? And every one of them says, I would drive home and be late, or I'd stop at the drugstore and buy toothpaste or toothbrush, but I would not come in and see you. See, so why would you go out without sunscreen or without an anti-aging product? You would never do that. So if you're taught young, before about age 13 or the teens, women and men will continue to wear sunscreen forever. But if they're taught as teens, it's a total waste of time. They'll never do it. So if you have little kids and you teach them behaviors, even if it's moisturizer, sunscreen, or anti-aging, it'll just become part of what they do, just like toothbrushing. Virtually everybody brushes their teeth every morning and every night, no matter what.
And thank goodness for that too, by the way, as an aside. But I'm a mom of two young children.
Look at your beautiful teeth, you see.
There we go. I'm a mom of two young children, and I'm going to start. Sunscreen's going to be part. You brush your teeth, you get ready, put on your sunscreen, and we're good about that. But it's not in a way that it's routine. So you just made me think of it in an entirely different.
And not a chore. It shouldn't be a chore. Like brushing your teeth now, I don't see it as a chore. I see it. It's just I do it.
You do.
Right. I don't feel good or bad about it. I do it, but I never miss it. So same sort of thing.
Okay, I love that. Sunscreen becoming part of your routine. Okay, now you've just segued into, you talked about all these products on the counter. You talked about the things we should be doing. Okay, so tell us, what are the say, let's talk morning routine, let's talk evening routine. What are the 3 or 4 things that we should all be doing every morning?
Let's reduce it to 2 because we've got some people who are so busy, 3 kids, trying to get ready, get to work, get to school.
You're speaking to the choir. You're preaching to the choir.
Every morning you want to put on sunscreen, no matter what. And every evening you want to use something with a vitamin A in it, whether it's retinoic acid, the prescription Retin-A, or tretinoin, or retinol. Those are the 2 bases of all skincare lines. You ask any expert dermatologist, female or male, who knows skincare, they'll say sunscreen in the morning and something with vitamin A in the evening. Now the sunscreen has to be something you love, so it has to feel nice, smell nice, and look nice, or you'll never use it no matter how good it is. So patients always say to me, well, what sunscreen should I use? I say, what do you use and do you like it? If they say, I really like it, I never change it as long as it's a 30 or higher. But texture is crucial, especially for women. If they don't like the feel of a product, they will never use it. And if they don't like the scent, they will never use it. So texture and scent are crucial. And of course, you want an SPF 30 or 45 that goes on and disappears. Even the great physical blocks with titanium and zinc oxide, they disappear totally. You should see no mask, no gray pale, none of that whitish.
The white lifeguard look.
Don't need that at all. So that's morning, and it can be a moisturizer sunscreen.
And so can I pause you there? Can you tell us some brands? Because we're always on the lookout, and I really like the mineral protection, especially for myself and for my kids. They do tend to look white. So what are some brands that you really like?
Well, the mineral sunscreen, so people understand, mineral means it's got mineral in it, and it's a physical block. It blocks the sun. And chemical means the chemical absorbs the UV, and that's how it works. There's a thing in America, and especially in Europe now, anti-chemical sunscreens. Fine. We have great physical blocks which disappear totally. They have zinc or titanium dioxide. My favorite is La Roche Posay, which is from France, but available across America. Slightly high price point, maybe as much as $20 for a tube. The tube lasts a long time, and they're exquisite. They're gorgeous. You cannot tell they're on. You could be wearing it. I would never know. And they have mineral or chemical, and they're exquisite products for men or women. One has, it's called fluid. It's like milk. You put it on and think this could not work, and it works incredibly well. So that's one of my favorites.
Okay.
There are a bunch of others. What's nice about La Roche Posay is it's available at CVS and Walgreens
Yep.
across the nation, and not
It's often at
particularly
the end of the
expensive.
aisle, like that.
And they have lovely products, and they were voted last year best sunscreen in America by, of all people, Consumer Reports.
Oh.
Now, interestingly, the year before they were nixed and at the bottom of the list because in consumers, if it's expensive, it automatically gets 5 demerits and it gets dropped. Somehow they realized they were missing the boat and they boosted it to #1 ahead of all places of things. Banana Boat and Hawaiian Tropic were #1 the year before. Like pure, unadulterated, you know what, but so that we don't like. Big bottle, not very elegant. We have elegant readers and listeners, viewers. They want something that's elegant, and
Okay.
these are elegant products. So that's my favorite line, and that's something that we use in our home. And they have a whole line which we go into. That would be a choice one.
Wonderful. So you're La Roche Posay in the morning, and then okay. So I wanted to know what we can put on our shopping list.
Well, some of our viewers might not want to go to a dermatologist or physician to get a prescription. But the fact is, it's so easy to get a prescription for Retinoin, and that's the generic name of Retin-A.
Right.
And with a coupon card, you can get it for well under $100, and it lasts a year.
All right. So that was morning. Now evening, you said a vitamin A derivative. Tell us more about that.
Right. So vitamin A obviously is a vitamin, and the archetypical product is called Retin-A. That's the trade, or the generic is Retinoin. You don't need the trade. You can buy the generic. It's just as nice. You just have to make sure you like the texture again and the scent. And you can get it. It's a couple of $100 for a prescription, but with coupon cards, like one called Good RX, which you can download free online, you can get it for well under $100, like $58 for a tube that lasts a year.
Okay.
And it's a prescription. So the one hurdle is you've got to see your doctor. Don't have to see a dermatologist. Your regular doctor can prescribe it. It's a great product for use every night. It has one side effect. It can be a little irritating. About 10% of women find it irritating. You bring it up slowly, apply to dry face at bedtime, 1p divided into 4, rubbed in well, which is hardly any. Then you can put your favorite night moisturizer on top. It makes dull skin look brighter. It makes thicker skin thinner and finer. It lightens brown spots. It smooths skin. It helps fine lines. It hydrates and probably prevents cancer. Probably. And it's a prescription which is available for anybody. And so the only reason not to do it is if you're either too lazy or can't get to the doctor, or for some reason you're one of the people who finds it too irritating, in which case you get retinol, which is not as strong. It turns into Retin-A in the skin, but it's not as strong. So if you want the gusto, you go for the prescription. A lot of my female patients don't get the prescription for a variety of reasons. So you get a retinol product, which is available over the counter at drugstores. La Roche Posay makes a beautiful one. Neutrogena makes one of the best ones on the market. ROC makes a great one. These are highly effective. You can tell because they sting a little bit when they go on, and they do all the things Retin-A does, just not as powerful.
Okay.
So there's your anchors: sunscreen in the morning, and you've got the Retinoin or retinol, some vitamin A at night. If you only have time for 2 things, that's all you need. And you're 90% there.
Amazing. That is so helpful. So those are your 2 anchors. Now, say we have somebody who said, okay, I have time for those 2. I want to add something else. And I think it's important to mention, I know you would say this, that for the any of the Retin-A or vitamin A derivatives, that's not for people who are pregnant, but everybody else, go for it.
Right.
All right. So now I have my SPF and my vitamin A. If I have time to add 1 or 2 more products, what are you adding?
And in truth, Darria, everybody has time, because how long did it take to put on the sunscreen? Even I can do it.
How much, quick question, how much sunscreen should I put on my face? Everybody asks this all the time.
The more, the better. So people talk about exact amounts, doesn't matter. 2 coats is way better than 1.
Okay.
And put it on, and put on more than you think. If you've got the tube left at the end of the summer, you know you're not using nearly enough. Right.
All right.
And it does run out. So just use it liberally. The more, the better. Most Americans use 1/4 the right amount.
Yes.
So instead of getting SPF 50, they get SPF 4, right?
Yeah.
So you paint your house, you get
enough,
a professional, they do a prep, they do 2 or 3 coats, it looks beautiful. You get the cheapo in, which I did once, 1 coat, and a year later it looked terrible. So do multiple coats, it actually works better. It's not expensive. So most people have time, as we've just discussed. And so the truth is, in the morning, you want to use your sunscreen, but before that, you want to use either a botanical, something that's plant-based, or an antioxidant, or perhaps a different vitamin derivative. So for example, there's an antioxidant which we love called CE Ferulic. It's a funny name. It's made by Skinceuticals. It was developed by my friend and colleague Sheldon Pennell, who was at Harvard years before, then the chairman at Duke. He unfortunately passed away after he developed the strongest antioxidant on the American market, which is CE Ferulic. It's not particularly expensive, around $100. Women love it, and you can tell within a week they're using it. So
I use it.
my favorite in the morning is CE Ferulic, followed by sunscreen. That's easy. And then at bedtime, you want to use something different than your vitamin A, because if you use 2 vitamin A's, that's like filling a cup of water that's already full. It just spills over. So you like different classes of products. So in the evening, I like a botanical or growth factor. And my favorite is a SkinMedica product, which was developed by another dermatologist who unfortunately also passed away, Dick Fitzpatrick from San Diego, who was a brilliant colleague and friend who developed this product that comes from foreskins, baby foreskins. And when they're grown in the laboratory to make artificial skin, the serum that comes off is filled with growth factors, which make old skin look young again. And they have a product called TNS Essential Serum. I use that at least once every day. So at the morning, you've got your, say, CE Ferulic, which is antioxidant and sunscreen. Those are 2 classes. And at bedtime, you've got a growth factor, the TNS Essential, followed by your vitamin A. So you've got 4 different classes every day doing 4 different things. Together, they may be better than just parts. And so that's our favorite 4-part application, not expensive relatively when you consider the benefit. And the truth is, it's so simple and so fast. It literally takes less than a minute in the morning, less than a minute at night. But the tip is keep it on your counter, not in your drawer. If it's in the drawer, you'll never use it, and put it right by the toothpaste so you can't forget.
So it just becomes a part of your routine.
People who are busy, you keep it right by the toothbrush and toothpaste. You think, oh my God, I forgot to. And if you're in bed and you didn't do it, get out and do it. It's that important because you've got 8 hours in bed while you're sleeping and you want to get younger, not older.
Exactly. Just let your skin do the work for you if you just put the right stuff on. Now, quickly, what about, the Clarisonics and the glycolic acids and exfoliators and things like that? Or do you need to, if you're doing those other things, if you're doing your Anchor 4?
Clarisonics is a fun device. We use it in our practice for cleansing skin before certain procedures. And we recommend that maybe once or twice a week as a fun thing to do. It does help to clean the skin, and clean skin allows products to get in better, but it's not essential. And there are lots of knockoffs which are 1/10 the price, but they're not quite as good as the original. The original is overpriced, but it's a lovely product. And a lot of women do that on the weekend when they've got a bit of extra time. It takes 10 minutes, and it's like the best cleansing you'll ever have. Glycolics, fine, but not in my top 4, because the top 4 are my go-tos. But a glycolic could be added in morning or night. And there are tons of other products. The problem is you get to Sephora, you either have an itchy nose or you're sneezing, or you're overwhelmed. And the problem is the salespeople there, who are mostly lovely women, are being paid by the product producers. So I don't think most retailers know they're not paid by Sephora. They're paid by the person who put the stuff on the shelf. So if it's Jeffrey Dover or Dr. Darria X, they hire the salespeople. So what is their job? Is to sell that product. So you end up getting stuff you don't necessarily need or want. Price points are fine. The choice is immense. But why not just get it from your dermatologist or online once you know what to buy? The problem is you get to Sephora, you come home with stuff, or Neiman or Bloomingdale's. Their job, those Bloomie girls, their job is to actually sell the product who pays them. So Chanel pays the Chanel makeup counter woman to be there. The paycheck comes from Bloomingdale's, but they work for Chanel. So it's a little biased. You go to a dermatologist, I don't care if you buy anything. I'm not a salesperson. I'm
pretty sure I once went to you when I was in med school with my box of everything I was using, and you were like, nope, garbage, garbage, keep, garbage.
My favorite thing to do.
I vaguely remember that. And I was like, but, you're like, no, don't bother. Now, okay, so is there anything else? Say we go and, because I know the way your dermatology conferences are. I know you guys go with empty suitcases and then you have, it's like sci-fi or CES for like skincare, and you see all these futuristic things. You come home with all these really cool things. If we were to poke around in your bathroom counter, what's something very cool, new, most of us may not know about that you're kind of loving right now?
Well, I actually already gave you my favorite secret, which is the CE Ferulic. So, and number two, the TNS. They have funny names, but the TNS is remarkable. The reason I'm so big on it now, or high on it, is I have a patient I've known for well over a decade. Lovely, attractive woman, but her skin always looked a little bit dull, even though she looked young. And one day she came in and suddenly she looked fantastic. I said, "What have you been doing?" She said, "Well, actually, a friend of mine who's a dermatologist in Seattle sent me this stuff in the mail. I've been using it, and I liked it so much I bought a second bottle. And it was the TNS Essential." I immediately changed my practice. I'd known about it for years, but it was pretty expensive, and I wasn't sure. I immediately got it myself, and I told our office manager we had to get it immediately. And it's now my favorite product based on that one individual. And to this day, she's on her sixth bottle, and she looks like you instead of looking like the dull version of you. So that actually, these growth factors are probably the best still secret in dermatology, because the FDA treats them like a cosmeceutical. They're not regulated, but they really should be drugs, right? They've got growth factors in them that come from human foreskin, but you want to make sure you get the real McCoy. There's a lot of knockoffs out there, just like everything in America. There's the real McCoy and everything else. You want to make sure, if you're putting this on your face, you want to make sure it's the real thing. If it costs $1 more, like, does it matter? Or if it lasts a year? And the answer is no. So that's number one. Number two, most of the excitement is in devices as opposed to topical agents. There are tons of new products out there, but the proof is in the pudding, as they say. And my issue is a lot of these products come out with no evidence whatsoever. It's all marketing, but no science. And they bring the marketing to dermatologists because, after all, we're human. So they prey on our vanities and our desire to be liked and say, this is a great product, everybody loves it. Who's everybody and where's the data? So what you want is scientific studies. With the TNS, a study was done years ago, split face, on very wrinkled patients. The wrinkly side looked unbelievable after X months, and the other side looked the same. The data was so compelling, they never published it because they knew the FDA would shut them down and say, this has to be a drug. You're changing the structure of skin. Right. So they've never acted on it, but I think they could if they really want to. And the company would have to spend $100 million or more to get it approved for prescription. So devices are where the excitement really is, lasers and light source and energy sources to make skin look much younger. So if someone wants to look like you but doesn't, the key is they can use cream all day long. They've got to do other things. And that's when they want to see an expert dermatologist who could guide them to speed up the process.
Okay, so that's great. I wanted to ask you some questions about, peels and lasers. Your point is your thought on peels versus lasers? Do you feel strongly, or do you think it depends on your skin and go to your dermatologist and see what they recommend?
Well, peels are making a bit of a comeback, but my feeling is they're sort of like old school, old story. A peel to me is like driving down the highway in a car at one speed only. It's either on or off. And neither you nor I nor anybody listening would ever get a car that only went one speed. Like 65 is fine on the interstate, but what if you're in front of a school? Like, you're going to kill somebody. Right. So peels go on, they work, and then they're done, but you can't stop them for the most part. And we used to do them, but we saw too many side effects, like a lot of side effects. Lasers are the ultimate controlled device. I can set anything I want. The reason they're so expensive is they're very high fidelity. So I can treat one brown spot, big brown spots, light brown spots, spots all over. I can make someone who has brown spots look 12 years younger in a matter of 3 gentle, almost painless treatments. And I can't guarantee that with a peel. So it is remarkable what we do with almost no downtime now. That area of dermatology has been revolutionized in my career. Brown spots, facial redness, facial blood vessels, facial wrinkles, facial sagging, facial laxity, dropped brow, wrinkles. It is remarkable what we do. And when I show patients some of the pictures of patients who allow me to do so, they just say, I can't believe that. Like, this must be trick photography. She must have had a facelift. Well, of course not.
It's amazing.
It's quite impressive.
So lasers are where it's at, you're saying. Go into your dermatologist and
Yeah,
inquire about
lasers and devices. So what you want to do is go to someone who is highly reputable.
that.
And the way you choose them
Yes.
is not based on the number of ads they have or the placement in Atlanta Magazine or Dallas Today or the New
Right.
York Magazine or Boston Magazine.
Yeah. How do you
Those are
find
really
a
nice.
good dermatologist?
Yeah, the best way to do is you ask other dermatologists. The best way to find the best plastic surgeons, you see which the plastic surgeons are jealous of. And
Okay.
so the way I found the best facelift surgeon in Boston is I found out who all the other plastic surgeons were a little
Mm.
threatened by. And he was this charming man who was unbelievably skilled. Joel Feldman, who was a Harvard faculty member, did the best facelifts maybe in the country, but at least in the Northeast. Never advertised, never gloated, sent most patients away, said, you don't need it. And he did
Yeah.
beautiful work, but only I knew that. So when patients came to me, I knew who to refer them to. So you ask somebody, if you're not sure, ask your doctor, ask your friends. When you go to see the dermatologist, if you don't feel comfortable, leave. It's your money, it's your face. You have to feel comfortable, never rush, never feel under any pressure. Do it right. It's actually, in a way, you find out pretty easily, but don't be charmed or sweet talked by, if you don't do it today, the offer only exists this month. Rubbish.
None of that.
Special 2-for-1, rubbish. Mother's Day special. No, this is medicine. You want to go to a doctor with great skill, and some bedside manner helps, but you want to really like them. But you want someone with skill and integrity, and that's available. You just have to look.
Yeah, and I think you're right, because for the general public, they may not be able to just to do a survey of other dermatologists, but ask your friends, ask your family, look at whose skin you like, ask them where they go.
Exactly. Ask a friend is really good, especially ask 2 or 3. The
Yeah.
same name keeps popping up. Usually you have to hear the name 3 times before you go. But remember, do you really want to go to a med spa where there's an esthetician with perhaps a high school degree who's doing your procedure, who knows nothing about dermatology or medicine because the price is right? I don't think so, but there's a place for everyone. But what you really want to do is go to someone highly reputable and take your time, make the decision wisely, take baby steps, and you can't go wrong if you choose wisely.
Yeah. And I tell everyone, if it's an elective procedure, always, do your homework. This is not something you have to get emergently. And lasers, while they may feel totally imperative, it's an elective procedure. So do your homework, make sure you're comfortable. So quickly, you mentioned lasers and you said other devices. What are those other devices we should be looking out for?
Well, we've helped to develop a bunch of exciting devices. One was called Thermage, or is called Thermage. It's now 10 years in the making. It's a radio frequency device which tightens skin in 5 areas. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 6 months later, 94 to 96% of patients see some tightening, not like a facelift, never scary, never unnatural, and it works beautifully for women and men who are just starting to sag, but don't have a ton of sagging. That's one of our favorite go-tos, and patients often after 50 will do that every year. Under 50, about every 18 months. I've had 4 myself. I do nothing, but that's one thing that I do because it helps to tighten right here. And my family my dad had a bit of sagging here, so why not?
Yeah.
The second is something called the Fraxel, which is a laser, but that helps to make people look like you. Brightens the skin, evens the color, and helps find wrinkles. So a woman as busy as you with kids and a busy life to look this good, that's the secret in Hollywood. When you see 50-year-old women who look 30, you think, what did they do? They did Thermage, they did Fraxel.
Ooh, okay.
And then the third is something called Zeltique, or Coolsculpting, which we helped to develop, which is a Harvard patent which uses cold to permanently freeze and destroy fat. It gets rid of fat here, gets rid of fat on the belly, love handles, inner thighs, outer thighs, even knees, which we've studied. Very safe and effective. Works in 90% of patients, and rare side effects. No downtime, walk in, walk out. So that's body shaping with no surgery, improving brightness and color and texture with a tiny bit of downtime, and Thermage, 0 downtime for tightening. So those are 3 of the devices that we love, that we do literally all day long, which change people's lives in a very subtle way, and no one ever knows ever what they've done unless they want to tell.
There we go. You just have that glow. That's what you want. And that's great. So find somebody who's doing those, you just said that you do it all day long. You want to find a physician who does this day in, day out. I love that. Okay. I want to hop on a plane, come see you right now in Boston. unfortunately we can't right now because of COVID. To come over there, get some
And you
Thermage.
don't need to. You look fantastic.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you.
You
It's
do.
good lighting too. Good lighting.
Whatever your secrets are, they're working. You look
Thank you.
terrific.
Thank you so much. It's also a lot of the products you're talking about, although I don't have TNS. I'm going to go buy that.
No, but it's
Now,
obvious you're wearing sunscreen and you're protecting your
yes,
skin because you cannot look this good. Being a mom and a
sunscreen.
professional, and with all of your training, I just know you cannot look this good if you're going in the sun a lot. It's just
No,
impossible. We know the minute someone walks in, if they're a smoker, if they're in the sun, if they're not taking care of their skin. If they
yeah.
use the products we mentioned, they walk in, I say, wow, you look unbelievable. They say,
Mhm.
no, you say that to everybody. I say, no, I don't.
I don't.
And
And
my
I
nurse
think
said, no, he doesn't.
and it's important to anyone listening, if you haven't been taking care of your skin up until this point, like, they can reverse damage. Like, make sure everybody hears that. I want
No,
everyone to hear that.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's a point that's lost on many people. Smokers who stop smoking, their lungs actually reverse almost to normal as long as it's not been for too long. It always astounded me. The skin can do the same thing. You stop smoking or you stop baking in the sun and you wear some sunscreen. It is amazing how quickly people look better. 6 weeks of tretinoin and you suddenly start to see a glow and the skin brightens. It is very impressive. And then once they see that, they're hooked. Then they want to
Yeah.
do a little bit more. Start with good skincare, then you can go to procedures, but the basis is skincare.
Good to see. And that's a great philosophy, just having that, have it be healthy from the inside out. Now, I want to switch to our lightning round with you. I feel like we could go on for hours, but now I got to switch to our lightning round. Now, this first question is one I get asked because when people find out I'm an emergency room doctor, I always get asked, what's the weirdest thing, strangest, craziest thing you've ever seen? So I want to ask you as a dermatologist, what's the kind of craziest fad you've ever seen anyone try?
Well, fad, I'll tell you another story, but the fads are these home devices that people come in with. I had this patient, very well-to-do Bostonian, very well-known family, a woman about town, philanthropy, theater, opera, music. And she came in with this device that she had bought online, an electrical stimulation device. And she brought it out, she was really proud of it. And she said, what do you think? I said, it's junk. She said, this is junk. You take it. And she slammed it down on the desk. And she said, wait till I bring you the other stuff I have. And the next week she came with like a suitcase filled with all the toys she had bought to make her skin look better. A total waste of money and time. And eventually they cost a lot. Some
What
of them are
about those
thousands of dollars.
masks that look like hockey masks that are supposed to do something to your face?
Junk.
Junk. See, I told her now all our audience is like, I see, he really does do that when you
I'll tell you, the most absurd thing I ever saw, I was a young dermatologist, this young married couple were on their honeymoon in Mexico, walking hand in hand down the street. Actually, I was in Toronto in the emergency room, and they came in. They were wandering down the street hand in hand, and he went and swiped this black thing dangling from a post. It turns out it was 10,000 volts of electricity, which went through his body, through his hand, out his backside, and out her toes. And they came in with holes. Their wedding rings had melted into their skin and holes out their backsides and out their toes because the electricity had to come out. And the only reason they survived is because it was so high that their hearts kept running. If it was lower voltage, it would have stopped their hearts. But it was so high, they survived, went to a hospital in Mexico. They were so worried they would never get out of the hospital alive because it was filthy that they left and flew back to Toronto where I saw them. And I still have their pictures. And every time I'm walking, holding my wife's hand, I think of them and I think, don't touch anything.
Don't grab anything. That's amazing. And that you just got to the fact, I remember doing a dermatology rotation. You see the core of medicine because it shows up on the skin, whatever's happening on the inside. So that kind of brings me to the next question in the lightning round. What's some surprising question about skin health, whether it's a food that's pro or anti-inflammatory or something else that you think people are always surprised when you tell them? It's like an aha moment.
Well, two things. One is people say, gee, what should I be eating or buying to make my skin look better? And the answer, you'll know the answer right away. It's simple. Eat a balanced diet, exercise regularly, and get lots of sleep. Most Americans are undernourished, underslept. They're not underweight, but they're undernourished. I say that carefully. They don't eat organic. They don't eat enough vegetables or fruit, but they eat potato chips and Coke and things out of the end cap in the store, which is
That's
not
a really
a
good
diet.
differentiation.
Yeah. Exercising regularly, crucial. Daily walk, anything to be outside, especially seeing green and blue, which are the healthiest colors and make your mood better, but also having fresh air makes your skin look better. And you all know that. You work inside all day, and at the end of the week, you think, why do I look gray? Well, because you've been in recirculated, unfresh air. And then finally, what should I eat? Eat the balanced diet. Don't buy supplements for your skin. Eat a balanced diet of nutrients, and you'll be totally fine. So we don't recommend supplements for the skin. On the other hand, if you're short, you do want to be eating certain vitamins, and you're the expert on that. But for young women, it's iron. And basically, that's about it. If you ask the Harvard experts, all these other B, D,
Right.
you need calcium, vitamin D, and a bit of iron is what most women need, and nothing else. But that doesn't help your skin. That just helps your health.
No, I thought if I take biotin, I would have hair like the Kardashians. Are you telling me that's not true?
Your hair looks perfect the way it is, and biotin may help hair and nails, but it may not, and it alters a lot of blood tests when you go into the emergency room, especially cardiac tests. So you've got to be very careful.
Really?
And so that's something we're always concerned about now because of the interference with blood tests, especially for heart attacks. It can make it look artificially abnormal.
See, and you brought up a great point there. It's why we should eat our vitamins, not necessarily take them in pill form, because if it's strong enough to help you, then there's always potentially it's strong enough to have a side effect, just like you just said.
Right.
Okay. I love it. Now, Jeff, tell everybody where they can go to get more information on you, get more of your nuggets of wisdom.
Whoa, I've given them all away. So
I know that's not true. Anyone listening, he's not telling the truth.
Well, Skincare Physicians is our practice in Chestnut Hill, which is a lovely suburb just outside of Boston near Harvard Medical School. And there's an awful lot of information on the website, skincarephysicians.net. And I've written an awful lot of books, mostly for physicians, but The Youth Equation is a wonderful book which actually teaches people most of the tips that I've mentioned in our conversation today, just in more length. And the A to Z Encyclopedia is a great book, one of the first books I wrote for lay people, which is just an A to Z of conditions about skin that you want to look up, and that's available as well. But a lot of this information is available online. The problem is most of what's online about skin is not true or not vetted. And so you want to speak to people like Dr. Darria, who knows. Here's an unbelievably skilled physician who knows about motherhood, about being a physician, about being beautiful and a woman, and knows what to tell you. So that's crucial. And would you like to go to a store and ask someone for expertise about skincare? Do you want to ask someone who looks like Darria, who's a physician? I mean, to me, it's so straightforward. Go to your dermatologist, wherever you are in the country. They know more about skin than anybody, not estheticians, not sales clerks, and not throwaway magazines for sure, like the Inquirer or the Next Best Diet to have skin like this, right?
So Jeff, you just reminded me, I want to mention to everybody who's watching this that right now, no matter where they are, they can also see you over telemedicine right now, right?
So my 14 colleagues and I are seeing patients on telemedicine and doing emergency visits, but we're also doing cosmetic consultations by telemedicine, which is a wonderful one-on-one way to get the full attention of an expert and the individual. So that can be done through our website as well at skincarephysicians.net, or just calling our office in Chestnut Hill.
Okay, perfect. So y'all go check him out. Check out his website, skincarephysicians.net. Check out the Youth Equation. Jeff, we'll have you back because I know people are going to have more questions and want more of your tips. So we will definitely have you back.
I'd be honored. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you so much. And we'll put, of course, the links that you mentioned in the show notes as well. Thank you so much. And I'm going to go buy some of those products and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.